here I am. Use my time and my energy towards solving some of the problems that I helped to create. I'm a proud father of three. My eldest children are 23, 21, and I have a youngest. My youngest son is going to be 3 in September. Yeah, that's pretty much me in a nutshell.
So, Wawa, what made you? Well, tell us a little bit about your working history. I know you were part of I think it was the VIPs, or there was a couple of programs that you were part of as well as started. So, tell us a little bit about that.
Yep. So I first started with Boston Jobs Coalition as a community outreach coordinator. Learned a lot about community activism and how to advocate for different policies and things like that while I was working there. Paid a lot of attention to development with a focus on jobs, how those jobs that are going to be coming through the community would impact people or be accessible to people that lived in the community. I then went on to Mission Safe, where I was a mentor for at-risk, proven risk youth, try to help kind of steer their lives in a different direction, sort of like myself. A lot of them reminded me of myself when I was their age, so it tapped into a passion that I kind of wanted to get into when I came home. After COVID, I ended up going into the city of Boston, working as a street worker, and doing the same work, working with youth that were at risk, proven risk, gang involved, court involved, and I helped to implement a program of workforce development within my group of kids, tapping into some of the city's resources to be able to give these kids a stipend directly for working with me. And once the program dissolved, I was able to step into another role at Dorchester Bay where I was doing resident services. In the midst of all of that, I'm also co-founder of the Nubian Square Foundation. Our focus is, community-led development, whether it's people, places, and things, right? Not just trying to develop property, but also developing the mindsets of the people in the community to kind of redirect their energy towards self-determination. We give out scholarships to our kids. Actually, our gala's coming up on August 3rd, where we're going to be raising money for this year's round of scholarships for young people from Roxbury.
What's the website?
For the Nubian Square Foundation, it's nubiansquarefoundation.net.
And they can make a donation.
Yes, you can make a
Okay.
donation through the website, or you can come to the gala, enjoy yourself, and donate there.
Okay. So Wawa, um, I've worked with you a little bit around the block, and I guess I'm officially still the queen of Nubian Square. I guess there'll be a new one appointed this August, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the work that you would like to do if you become the city council. And before that, everybody always asks why you running.
Mhm.
So tell me why you're running, and then give us some ideas that you have that can improve District 7.
Um, I'm running because I believe I'm the best candidate for the job. My perspective and my lived experience, I believe, uniquely qualifies me for the opportunity. My goal, and I think what would not necessarily be different, because I feel like the counselor we just had did have a community approach where she leaned on, those in the grassroots that were kind of doing things and tried to highlight that work. So I would stick with that mindset, just working with grassroots organizations in any particular field or any particular area where we can try to figure out policies from a city level to implement change. I advocate on behalf of folks that look like me, the invisibles, the people who's been disenfranchised from the process for so long, and feel like they haven't had representation. So that's my why.
All right. So what would be some things that you would like to see different, changed? How would your voice on the city council impact your district?
I don't think it'll necessarily be my voice. It'll be me amplifying the voices of the people on the ground. I don't think I'm going in there with all of the bright ideas. I think that the community has the solutions within, and my goal would be to tap into that. I think we have a reparations task force that's been actively doing their research, and they're going to be making recommendations. So I would definitely highlight that work. I'm a proud American freedman, so reparations is probably one of the things at the top of my list. But like I said, my goal is to highlight community-led grassroots efforts that are not being visible, or just need a little extra, attention.
Would you maintain the advisory council that
Absolutely.
city council Tanya had?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
maintain it and try to expand it and keep that work going. I think it's, the group of folks that kept meeting every Saturday, I think they've done a lot of work that is systemic and should outlive every counselor. And, because of that value, there's no way I would not continue to tap into it.
Yeah. So tell us about because you know that you're one of 9 district, city councilors. Of the city councils now, are there any that you would work with, try to work with, or support, and have their support of you? Are there any that you can think of that you would
All
say?
of them.
All of them.
All of
Okay.
them. All of them. There's no city councilor that I wouldn't work with. I think that's the secret to getting things done, right? Like, we have to be able to work together and find commonality in what it is that we're identifying or bringing forward on the council floor. So I work with everybody.
So what would you advocate for most in your district?
Let me see. I mean, there's a lot of different things in our district that have gone in disrepair, or have gone, slipped under the rug. Affordability for businesses, I don't think that's something that's available right now for local small businesses to really be able to afford to, open a brick and mortar right in the center of Roxbury. So, if there's ways to incentivize landlords or subsidies or things like that that we can figure out, that would be something that I'll be open for. But mainly my goal is to, like I said, tap into the grassroots and allow that to lead my policy moving forward.
So what are your thoughts on the pilot, payment in lieu of taxes?
I love the idea of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think there needs to be a way for, it to have some teeth,
Mm-hmm.
so that, a lot of these universities will not have a choice on their own. But, yeah, it's one of those things I know that is going to require a policy that would be ironclad.
White Stadium.
The community's against it. I'm against it. Period.
Yeah, that's a little mess over there.
Yeah.
So, tell us. So are you? I know you must be looking for volunteers and donations and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
What is your campaign looking like? Like if you social media,
Mm-hmm.
volunteers. You may want to give out your website and your social media handles so people can find you.
Mm-hmm. On Instagram, well, on all platforms, we're Wawa for D7, and that's Wawa number 4 D7. Same for the website. It's it's wawaford7.com. We have places on there where you can sign up to volunteer if you want to donate. If you want to do phone banking, you can set up a time right through the website, as well as contribute.
All right. So, what would you say to those when they go out to vote on September 9th? What would you say that's gonna make them push your name?
I think it's my demonstrated work, right? Like, we've done a lot of things from a place of it being volunteer based. A lot of the things that I've done in the community, I'm not necessarily trying to be on the front lines or stand out in the crowd, but we've had a lot of impact, and I think that in and of itself separates me from a lot of the other candidates.
Mm-hmm.
I've had jobs and things like that have been, my employment,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's true for everyone on the that's in the race.
Mm-hmm.
But my efforts outside of my work, I think, is what separates me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be active in the community, whether I'm a city councilor, whether it's my job, whether it's anything. These are the things that I've already been doing. I have a demonstrated track record of success, especially through the security initiative that we launched in Nubian Square, focused around seniors and some of the hot spots for the CDCs where people was kicking in doors and all kinds of mess, right? But we was able to, use some resources, limited resources, and deploy those resources in a way that had a maximum impact on the quality of life of the people that live right there in Nubian Square.
So, how are you? So you say you're doing phone banking, door knocking,
Mm-hmm.
events. I'm assuming. So tell us a little bit about the Nubian Square event on August. Is it 3rd or 2nd?
August 3rd.
Okay.
Yeah, this will be our 4th gala.
Mm-hmm.
And we give out some community awards
Mm-hmm.
where we highlight those that are unsung heroes, so to speak. This year, I think we one of the awardees is Toy Burton.
Mm-hmm.
She's gonna be receiving our award, our Brent Henry
Mm-hmm.
Award of Black Excellence. That award is named after a good friend of mine named Brent Henry. He was,
I heard about Britain Henry.
yeah,
Yeah.
he did a lot of work in my neighborhood, being able to reopen we called it the social hall, but he turned it into a community center, a summer camp, where kids had a place to go, something to get, where they can get something to eat. They could do some after school work. He was really instrumental in inspiring me to, give back to the community in the way that I do now. Unfortunately, he passed away.
Right. I met his brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The family always comes and they bless the ceremony to support whoever gets that award. But we wanted to immortalize his work and just, highlight him by naming that award after him. And every year we try to give it to someone who's demonstrated some of the things that we loved in him.
Right.
So our lineup, Toya is gonna get that, and then we wanted to honor Senator Wilkinson this year. So we are giving her our Community Leader Award. She's been so instrumental, in a lot of the things that we see.
Yeah.
And we just want to give her
and
flowers.
We're continuing to do. That's right.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right. Our Visionary Award is going to Katrina Conrad. She's been, a beast in the workforce development space, finding ways to get people, qualified, not only qualified, but certified, so that they can, take that step forward. She does work with me in my youth program as well, where we're still, part-time. I still work with young people that are, justice impacted through Straight Ahead Ministries, and she runs our Skill Up program, where we're helping kids kind of understand, get some of the construction trades, understanding the different trades and how, they can, join those things. And so those are the 3 awards that we're giving away. And every year we always crown a king and a queen.
Right.
The first year we kept it secret on purpose because the people that we gave it to were so close to us. And they was not expecting it, and we got genuine tears when we announced who was getting the king and the queen. So we've kind of stuck with that tradition ever since, and every year now we just keep it secret until the day of, and somebody will be crowned, but they just don't know who it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's a wonderful feeling, to be crowned queen or king.
Yeah.
And so that was a blessing.
Yeah.
And
yeah, last year we crowned. Well, not last year. Last year we wasn't able to do it, but the year before that, we crowned you.
Right.
So how'd that feel?
It was awesome. It was awesome because I didn't find out until like the day before. I think the day before someone slipped it.
And told you?
Yes, yeah. Hold on. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Priscilla. Good morning, Wawa. My name is Nardella, and thank you for taking my call. Wawa, you said you've had a long history of being invested and connected to the community, and that you would be a voice to amplify what the community needs. So I have two questions. Have you heard about Roxbury-based nonprofit Blue Hub Capital and the allegations that minority homeowners have alleged that Blue Hub Capital is a predatory mortgage lender that is really doing a lot of damage and tactics of gentrification, particularly targeting minority homeowners and low-income homeowners, and they're getting rich off of the time and sweat and equity that we put into trying to generate transformative wealth equity and putting that dollars back into the community. So I'd like to know what your thoughts are on Blue Hub Capital, and they continue to do business in the community, And like, what are your thoughts about these developers just coming in and trying to create housing in densely populated your district, but they are not in any realm of being affordable for people to really attain home ownership in your district. So if you could answer those questions, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, yes. Thank you for those questions. So I'm not familiar with Blue Hub. That would definitely be some research that I'll do now that I've heard that from you. And, you know, whatever grassroots organization is, you know, leading the way, I would love to hear from them. Definitely, you know, so we can set up a meeting through my website. My email is info@wawaford7.com. You can send me an invite. We can meet and talk about it, just so that I can be more informed about what this organization is fighting for. As far as the development, that was one of the things that I paid attention to while I was with the Jobs Coalition, right? Like, I went to all of the RSM POC meetings and, you know, listened to some of the development proposals that were coming down the pike. Roxbury, you know, is a neighborhood that has an oversight committee, so there is no development that can come through our community without the oversight committee first getting those proposals then going to a project review committee, where that's made up of people in the community that are either stakeholders, you know, experts in particular areas, where the PRC will go through each proposal and pick the one that's the most advantageous, and then recommend that to the oversight committee. The oversight committee then, you know, forwards that recommendation to the BPDA, where the board either votes to, you know, designate that project or not. There aren't a lot of people that come to those meetings. I can say there are a set group of about 50, 60 people that show up consistently, and it, depending on the project, it could be a lot lower. I think folks need to, you know, go onto the BPDA website, join their mailing list, so that we can actually be informed on what development projects are actually coming through when they're at the beginning phases, so that we can find the projects that are most advantageous for our community. The more people that are involved, the more ideas we get around the table, and the more perspectives can come into that process. You know, that's my suggestion as a solution, is that we get more involved in the process. But densely populated areas, I mean, we see it every day, everywhere we go. There's projects that are gonna be good and bad for the community. If we're not at the forefront of those development projects, this is one of the things that we also talk about through our work in the foundation, is how do we step forward, right, and develop our own property? How do we become the developers ourselves, and go after some of these parcels that are being auctioned off, and be the developer that brings exactly what we want to see? If we're not doing that, I think ownership is the answer, and that's the way we should be really thinking about going about it, but also being part of the process that's already in place.
Grace Richardson always talks about that, about the community getting together and putting these proposals together. Sometimes she calls in when if she listens, but it would be interesting, because I feel like we can be our own developers. You know, we just got to put the right team in place, and that's kind of hard because of us, you know. But I believe that, like my song say, a change is gonna come, and we have to be the change makers.
That's
you know,
right.
it's just like they're not gonna do anything for us. We have to go get it, you know.
That's right.
And so I appreciate all the work that you're doing, all the work that you've done, and all the work that you will continue to do, because I see you, I see the work that you've done. I've worked with you. I mean, when we was with the block, we was rocking for a minute, you know, and but the block didn't die. It just, you know,
That's right.
stepped aside for a minute.
Still alive, still alive.
Yeah.
We've been behind the scenes working with a group trying to establish an Office of Freedmen Affairs. And right now, I believe it's moving forward on the state level, and hopefully, you know, that goes through, and we can find a way to do it on the city level as well.
Also, we're also having community meetings at Torchlight Recovery Cafe every Thursday to talk about things in our community, to talk about how we can really get our folks out to vote, get them out to vote for who we want to in the office. You know, this this campaign this year is just like blah blah blah, you know. I mean, really, not, you know, it's just, I don't know. But anyway, we, you know, do you have some events coming up, or are you gonna be somewhere where people can reach out to you and talk to you and stuff?
Yeah, every day we're out in the community talking to people, knocking doors. So every Saturday it's open up for people to come out and knock doors with me. Every day, honestly, I'm out every day. So any day of the week, people can find me in Roxbury or in D7, somewhere knocking doors. If they want to join me in advance, they can go on the website and schedule a day to come out. That way we're more coordinated. We know exactly where we're meeting. And obviously, hopefully, everybody comes out to the gala on August 3rd.
That's a Sunday, right?
It's a Sunday.
What's the
From
time?
2 to 6.
2 to 6, okay. On the Bruce Bowling on the 6th floor.
Yes, ma'am.
My favorite spot in the Bruce Bowling building.
Right.
Also, I guess I can make my announcement. October 16th, he will be having the 5th annual fundraiser, and that's going to be at the Bruce Bowling building on the 2nd floor. So I will be reaching out to you folks that say I'm doing good work, you like the program, we need funding. And so we're going to have a gala, a beautiful event on October the 16th. And it's going to be from 5:30 to 9 at the Bruce Bowling building on the 2nd floor. So, you know, that is a blessing that we get to use that we have access to the Bruce Bowling building. Because I remember we protested that building. That was the first building that I protested, and 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. we were out there every morning. It was just, that was 2012, you know, that
Wow.
that was a while ago, right? Yeah, we did it. We got some things changed, you know. And so, you know, I'm excited that you're running. You know, we always know when there's an open seat, there's gonna be a lot of people running, you know. But as far as boots on the ground, I see, you know, you out there. You know, I know the work that you've done, and I know that the work that you can do. And so, you know, unfortunately I don't live in your district, so I got gentrified out. I always say that I got gentrified out of Roxbury.
Right.
But
right.
I've been, you know, I would love to move back into Roxbury, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's expensive.
Yeah, it is. So
It's a high point of entry.
yeah, and it's in the middle, you know. It's right there in the middle of the city. So, but you know, I did like the work that Tanya Anderson did. I really liked the fact that she got that app. She did that app.
Yeah.
I also appreciated her for doing the budget breakdown. You know, the capital and the operational budget. You know,
yeah.
that was so eye opening.
It was.
know,
It was.
it was very eye opening. And I worked for the city. I ran their payroll for almost 20 years. You know. But the way that budget was broke down, you saw every, you know, you just, like, you could see the disparities in that budget, you know. And so we definitely have to do better, especially about voting. People keep saying their vote don't count. Why should they vote? Because that's how people get elected.
Right.
By voting.
By voting.
You know.
That's right.
And I always say, you know, the only time your vote don't count is when you don't cast it. You know, and so, you know, it's I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think even when you talk about the budget, how she broke it down and how you can see how everything kind of moves. Um, there's also a disparity when you see so much money going into a particular area, right, in the city and throughout the city departments, and it doesn't translate into resources for specific communities.
Exactly.
I can just tell you a quick story. When the year after Brent passed away, that summer, there was a void. There was a lot of kids that was just outside. They didn't have any summer camp to go to because he was the one that always operated that camp. The management company that took over Linux, they said you have to live in the actual projects in order to be able to go into that resource center. He had a different policy. So there was kids coming from everywhere that was going into that resource center, and because he was no longer there, that was a void. So we was outside just in the summertime. We seen all these kids out there, so naturally we just started kind of putting them into little exercise groups. We started playing basketball with them, and things like that. And there was a day we came out and there was human feces in the playground, and we looked over and we see a city truck. There's somebody sitting there, and we told him, "Hey, bro, like, get the spray, come out, clean this up before the kids come out, because they're gonna be out here soon." And he's like, "Oh man, I gotta call the supervisor." Da, da, da. So it was like, okay, so they have the resources, but the resources are so scattered, and they use them where they choose. I don't know why, but we put the pressure on the manager that day, and he got that hose out there in a matter of like 20 minutes. They cleaned it up, and from the community putting pressure on the city, they responded. The resources was there. They just weren't actually using them because nobody was asking for them.
Right.
So from that point, they had extra trash barrels out there. Like they sprayed it early in the morning. Like they made sure that they actually tended to that park because the community was active and saying, "Come out here, we need you right now." So that's just an example where the resources are actually there, but the community has to step forward. And it shouldn't be like that, but if, like you say, the squeaky wheel always gets the oil.
That's right. That's right. But I just I thank you for stepping in, because running for office is no joke. I'm telling you, I've been there, done that. But it's also, you also get to meet different people. You really get to find out who is in your who's in your corner. You also get to find out where people are, where there may be resources that you don't know anything about, And so I think, I commend you, and, I wish you well. And I feel like, I think there's going to be, some shakeup, I do. The mayor's race, I don't even want to talk about it. It's just not. I'm just like, I'm not feeling it. But that's okay. I feel like the city councilors. You got a call? Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Sister Priscilla. How you doing?
Hey, Sister Grace. You must have heard me talking about you.
You called me. Thank you for all that you do.
Thank you for all you do.
Good morning, Grace.
Good morning, Wawa. How you doing?
Not bad.
Good. Glad you're running and bringing your knowledge and your expertise to the city council. And I have a question for you about the city did a diversity study and found that black Boston, only receives 1% of the city contracts. And when the city rolls out procurement contracts on that supplier portal, and then they report back like who received these contracts. They say they report back by community, like so many went to Dorchester or whatever, and but the city found that they harmed the black community for years by not giving us our fair share of the city contract. And so I know that in the contracts there is a form where the city collects data on the ethnicity of the contractor, and the city really needs to show us that we are getting our fair share of city contracts, because now, before you could say Dorchester, or, you could say Roxbury and Mattapan, and you would think, okay, well, that's going to black people. But clearly, Tania Fernandez told me that Roxbury was 90% black, and now it's 30% black. So we need to know by ethnicity who is getting the resources for the cities, the procurement contracts, and particularly the Mayor's Office for Housing. They have the community preservation funds that goes to housing, historic preservation, open streets, whatever. And so when you talked about the developers, and we need to know, like, what developers, what's the ethnicity of the developers that are getting this money to build affordable housing. So, I'm urging you and other city councils that they need to be more transparent and they need to correct the harm that was done by the black people and tell us by ethnicity breakdown, not by just neighborhood, but by ethnicity breakdown, actually who is receiving the city contracts in the city, so that we can ensure that it's fair for everyone. And I'd just like to hear what you have to say about that.
No, I think you're spot on. I'm sure that data is being aggregated. They probably are asking those questions of the developers, but somebody just has to pull the report. If it's not a report that needs to be pulled, it should be on a dashboard somewhere in the city's website where anybody can just go and get that information. We know for a fact there's always going to be a disparity whenever it comes to anything economic.
Thank you for running, and you have my full support.
Thank you.
He may be calling on you, Grace.
Thank you.
I'm gonna give him your number. Oh, excuse me. Yeah. So. Yeah, there's so many questions and things that we don't have the answers to, but I really I appreciate you running, stepping up, because you do have a lot of knowledge, and one thing I like about you ask questions, you keep asking questions, and you keep asking questions. And that's what I like, because that's what we got to do. We got to get the answer to our questions, That's
right.
And the fact that what Grace is saying about the procurement, like I sit on the Boston Employment Commission, but I am so disappointed. I honestly haven't, because I'm on the Roxbury Nubian Square Task Force, which is more important to me than sitting there fussing with them contractors, because it doesn't seem like there's going to be any change. It just, a few things change, but it's still bad, And so we as people, my motto, and everybody knows it, is like, we are the people and we have the power. And that's what we have to do. We have to show up at different places. Like before, with the before COVID, the Boston Employment Commission used to meet downtown at City Hall on the 8th floor, and they used to be in person. And them contractors would have to face the BEC, not only the BEC Commission, but the community, because we used to bring the community down there, and the community had a right to ask questions. But now it seems like since COVID, they don't want to go back downtown anymore. They were supposed to start back up in April. That didn't happen. Then they were supposed to start back up in July. You know, so it's like I feel like the contractors don't take us serious when they're in their office or when they're wherever, because they're not really seeing us in person. You know.
Right.
And so there's. I tell you, it just frustrates me to the highest to see all these white people working in Roxbury, in Dorchester, and Mattapan. You know, I mean, Feeney Brothers, Eversource, National Grid. Then you have all these contractors and these developers. That's one thing that I wish, if you are elected, that you would bring back, and that's the monitoring committee for Roxbury for the jobs. Chuck Turner started it, Tito Jackson continued it, Kim Janey continued it. But when Tanya became city council, she dropped it. I don't know why, you know. But that was one way we would able to keep the developers and contractors accountable. Right. Because we were meeting with them every other week. And Madison Park got mad with us when we started talking about they were paying slave wages when they were building Tropical. So they said we couldn't meet at Hibernian Hall anymore. So we started meeting at the police station in the conference room. You know, it was like, so what? Yeah. You know? But I think that these are things that need to happen. Like I said, there's a lot of construction going on all over the city. And we need to be able, we can have monitoring committees throughout for each district. You know, we could have a group of community people and that can monitor these projects. It's you know, it's just the will, you know, right. The will of the establishment, you know, and I don't really see a big difference.
I can definitely say that because I did get to participate in some of those monitoring meetings when I was with the Jobs Coalition. That is definitely something that I would be open to reestablishing. Not only that, I would go as far as to say, how do we get back, you know, the group from Action for Equity and the Jobs Coalition to try to introduce the Community Stabilization Jobs Act. Right. That had a lot of the different things that you're mentioning, and finding a way to bring that to a policy, like some kind of ordinance, like we was working on. I would definitely pick that up as well.
Yeah, because it was the Boston Jobs Coalition that changed the Boston resident job policy, and it took them forever to enforce that. You know, that their new program in Salesforce. I mean, I believe maybe a year or two they just got it up and running. I mean, the city, their processes, the way the things that you have to go through, in the state too, the process that they make you go through to apply for grants, to apply to get procurement dollars. You know, the process to get something done at 1010 Mass Ave, it just doesn't make any sense. All the red tape that you have to go through. You know, it seems like to me they should be able to sit down together among the whatever cabinet it is and iron out a process that does not keep the homeowner or the person or the business owner waiting for months. I mean, it's just insane. And so, I mean,
all the different layers, right? Like everything's got to go through those 6 layers of management right. before it gets to a decision maker to actually sign off. And then, that's definitely.
I'm telling you, it's just
headache.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's frustrating too, you know. And I think that's why sometimes people don't want to get involved, because the process, you know. But we need to get involved. We need to start going down to City Hall, to the State House. We need to be at these hearings. We need to be at these demonstrations. I see people doing it, but we just need to do more of it. And we need to make sure that all our people are registered to vote. You know, I mean, I don't know how else you're going to get someone elected unless you vote. You know, right. And support and help and volunteer.
That's right.
You know, I mean, people have been sending me clips of different things, and someone sent me a clip today of Navy officers that nobody knew about. They were commissioned. I mean, it was just devastating, our history, how they continue to try to destroy it and whitewash it and don't mention it, don't talk about it. You know.
Yeah, the erasure is real.
Yeah, it is. It is. And so, but I'm glad to see. I'm glad to see you running. You know, I hope and pray you win, because we need someone like you there. You know, someone that's gonna speak up for us, someone that's gonna represent us. You know, all the other nationalities and different races and stuff are represented. But there's really no black African American on the city council.
I don't think there's one.
No. And so who's representing us? It's just like when you have a government, you're the governor, and you don't have black and brown people in your cabinet. Who's representing them? You know, and that's what we need. We need representation, and we need real representation. You know, we need some more Jasmine Crockett's, you know, for real. I'm telling you, it's just, I'm serious. I got to meet that sister. I'm telling you, I got to put that on my bucket list. I got to meet her face to face, because she ain't no joke. And so we need people like that will hold these folks accountable.
That's right.
You know, and so I tell you, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Enough is enough, and we need to get out here and make some change.
That's right. That's right. That's why I stepped up, right? Like, me being a city councilor was never
a dream
in my cards. Like, it was not an aspiration, right? Like, but because of the work that we did when we established the block, I stayed true to the process. You know, I was like, no, we need to be leading the way of choosing a candidate that we know is going to represent our values.
That's right.
And I don't know how many people I talked to. I'm not even going to try to guess the number, but it was a lot. And no one, everybody had a lot going on, which is good. And no one wanted to step forward that was in our immediate network. So I was like, all right, I guess it got to be me, because, one of our models is put up or shut up. And if I'm not willing to step forward, then I don't have the ability to run my mouth. Whether I win or I lose, I can still say it with my chest, because I did it. I put up, I'm out here. I'm putting myself forward to be that representation that I know we need. And I stand for all of the things that the community's instilled in me, not necessarily what I've instilled in it, but what it's instilled in me. So hopefully people will come out and support September 9th. All of the polling stations in Roxbury is going to have some sort of information there about our campaign. And, we're going to need people that's going to come out and stand at them polling stations. So please volunteer and organize with us, so that on election day we can get the numbers that we need and win. That's right. That's right. How much more time we got? 3 minutes. Okay. All right. You got 3 minutes. They do that what is it called? The elevator spit? The elevator pitch? Oh, man. Honestly, like I said, I need people to come out and volunteer. I need people to go to the website, contribute. If we don't fund our own campaigns, then we can't compete, right? I am coming out. I'm coming to your doors. I'm going to be knocking. I'm going to be asking questions. I'm definitely going to be on a listening tour. Any neighborhood association that wants to have a conversation, email me. I'm open for a conversation, so that I can see what it is that you want and fight for those things as well. My name's Wawa, born and raised in Roxbury, grew up in Lennox Street Projects, and I'm here for the people. Because we are the people, and we have the power. That's right. Okay, Renee gave me 2 minutes, so I'm going to talk about Marcus Anthony Hall's big fundraiser that's coming up October the 16th. It's a Thursday from 5:30 to 9. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be big, and there may be a big announcement there. So come support
you'll be getting the save the date, and you'll be hearing about it. But like I said, we are the people, we are the power. And when we go to the polls on September, we have to remember we can make change because we are the people. We can make change by going in and pulling that level for the person that we want to see. And one thing I would say, I'd say about people, when we run for office, and we may not win the first time, but don't stop doing the work. You know,
right.
Don't stop doing the work. Keep doing the work. You might win the second time.
That's right.
Or the third. You know, like Carlos Enrique, he ran 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's why I'm trying to train up my young folks, because they're young enough to run and rerun. I can't run. I can't run. So,
Right.
but I definitely would love to see one of my students run for office. I ain't so serious, you know,
They
because